Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off, the podcast where three Salt Lake City-based critics get all worked up about film. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Adam, you've had a lot of personal stuff going on lately. It's great to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. It's one of those like, oh hey, I'm gonna extend my PTO, but not for fun reasons. So
Well,
Yeah.
I can't speak for Brooks, but I definitely missed you.
Well, I would hope I did.
I hope so too, Brooks. But it's great to have you
I
back. It's
saw
good to all
him
be.
last week.
I got to see you at work and give you your presents that you
Exactly.
paid for and were shipped to my house. But they,
That's right.
Nobody buys himself better presents than Brooks Bird, ladies and gentlemen.
It's
Nobody.
true.
All right, well, we've got two movies to talk about on this show. We're going to first review Predator Badlands, the latest in that long-running and what I would call inconsistent series.
yes,
Then we're going to review Guillermo del Toro's highly anticipated Frankenstein adaptation. We will do a guilty pleasures about killer aliens, because of Predator, of course. Then we'll do our coming attractions. First up, Predator Badlands. Adam is going to do the synopsis. Before that, here's some of the trailer.
You're after a creature that can't be killed. The definitive apex predator. I could help you. Well, good luck with your journey.
All right, Adam, get us up to speed. What's this one about?
so this one takes our normal bad guy, the Predator, and makes him the good guy. We have Deck, who is a Yacha runt. Yacha is what we call the Predators. And his dad's like, nope, you suck, so you need to be killed. But he escapes, makes a vow to go to the death planet Genna, and is going to be there and kill this giant beast called the Kalisk. And if he can do that, because that's the beast even his dad is afraid of, he figures he can get the approval and become part of the clan. Well, while he's there, of course, everything tries to kill him. That's why it's called the Death Planet. And he does run into a damaged Weyland-Yutani synth called Thea, and the two of them join together because she wants to get her legs back. He needs to kill the Kalisk, and wackiness ensues.
Let's set the stage here a little bit. This movie was directed by Dan Trachtenberg, and he's done the previous two
Mm-hmm.
installations of the Predator franchise as well. I'm talking about Prey, which was the movie with Amber Midthunder, which was surprisingly awesome, in my opinion. And he also did this summer's anthology animated series, Killer of Killers. Did you guys see Killer of Killers?
I still haven't.
I haven't. No, it's on my list.
And
Okay,
it's on Netflix, right?
I'm going to press pause. Go watch it now. We'll come back and finish the show later. I'm only slightly joking because I do think it's wonderful, and I do think it plays into my opinions about Predator Badlands because I love what Trachtenberg's doing. I feel like he's got a great feel for the material. I feel like he's got wonderful reverence for the material, and he's bringing something pretty fresh to it. But Brooks, I think you saw it before any of us.
I sat right next to you.
Oh my God, of course you did. We saw it together. I lose track of what we do sometimes.
I guess
Right.
if you fell asleep, maybe I saw more of it, but I don't think you did because
Well,
it's just that awesome.
Well, then I remember how you feel about it. So tell everybody
You
else.
should. It's amazing. For me, I mean, you look at the original and yeah, it's such a classic and it still just stands on its own. And this goes right up there with it. Prey was a huge blast of fresh air for the franchise. Until then, we've gotten crappy sequels filled with even worse crossover movies, which makes this even better because it's both. It's a sequel and it's a crossover movie with the Alien franchise. You've got Weyland-Yutani back doing their thing. And I did hear the director mention that this is set as far into the future as he could possibly set it. And I don't blame him because it leaves him room to do whatever he wants here. But if he wanted to, he could turn around and do whatever he wanted the other direction. So he's got a lot of sand to play in. And I don't want to sit next to anybody else in the playground.
Well, you probably should sit next to somebody else in the theater because I didn't even remember you were there. But
It makes me feel so much better.
I'm so sorry.
I now
Well,
like Adam more than you today.
that's going to change 3 or 4 times before we're done. Speaking of Adam,
For all of
you,
us.
you mentioned that shift of perspective, Adam. We're seeing this movie through the eyes of the Predator, and I agree that Deck is very much a heroic character right from the start, and that never changes. Do you think that works?
Yes, and I remember I've heard a couple people bemoan the fact that they're like, oh, well, they're trying to humanify or whatever you want to say, the Predators. I'm like, look, just because they're the bad guys in other movies doesn't mean they're the bad guys in their own world. Like
Hmm.
they have a clan, they're brutal, they are killers, but that's what they do. We don't go back and yell at the Tyrannosaurus Rex for being a killer because it would eat things. It was like, no, that's what's in its nature. And so for me, it didn't feel so much like we're trying to make them more human and make them not the antagonist. It's just like, well, this is what a day in the life of a predator looks like.
Hmm.
And for me, it worked well. I mean, they did kind of throw in some things like, oh, I'm learning now and I'm having a heart instead of just, being an evil killer. And that was a little bit, wasn't too fond of that, but we had to have a lesson learned by the Yacha. That's just how it goes. But aside from that, he made a really interesting main character. And aside from the comics, this is really the first time we've seen that happen in a movie. Is the first time we've ever seen it happen in a movie. And it was really interesting to see, like, hey, here's this little brunt whelp trying to, earn his invisibility cloak and become a member of the clan and goes through hell to do it. And I love the fact that they're like, hey, you're going to the death planet. What does it do? It does death. And it does death nonstop. And for me, that was awesome because, again, they showed us things we haven't seen before. Just because it was an alien world doesn't mean that, no, the moment he lands, everything's trying to kill you. And that made it interesting. And then it was more fun when we had Thea come in because she's a synth. She's on the planet for some kind of mission, obviously, because Weyland Yutani's evil. They are really the bad guys in this whole thing. I mean, you can even say the aliens aren't really the bad guys because they're just doing what they do. But she survived here for a couple years, and trying to see her train him how to do these things was just like, oh, that's kind of cute and interesting.
I think this movie is more than him just trying to be accepted by his clan. The best genre movies definitely stretch the expectations of their viewers, right? So this movie is definitely a coming of age story for Deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's a revenge journey. It's also, I think, a story about siblings. And it's not just Deck and his situation, but also
Mm-hmm.
Thea and hers, and also
Hmm.
Deck and Thea. There's this whole thing about siblings and relationships, the ones we are given and the ones we find, that I thought was a really nice touch from Trachtenberg. I'm not trying to make this sound like, an Oscar-worthy title, but I did love that he added those elements to it.
I think it helps. I mean, what more can you do other than what people might be complaining about than to humanize these characters? Because how else are you supposed to feel anything for any of the predicaments that he finds himself in? Like, even goes with a Pixar movie. There's a reason that a fish, has emotions because you're not going to care if he's just swimming around in the ocean, pooping in the water. No one cares. So you have to give them goals. You have to give them a character arc. You have to give them some kind of even a redemption if necessary. There's no other way you can do this without those things.
There's a very clear arc for Deck in this story. It's very credible and it's very obvious, and I enjoyed it a lot. Let's talk about the things that people expect from this kind of movie, though. The FX, the action, I thought both were great. I thought the effects were excellent, especially the face work on
Mhm.
Deck himself. Incredibly expressive, really good. I didn't see the stitches. Did either of you?
I don't think I noticed any
No.
of it. It
It
was
looked
pretty
good.
clean.
And what about the action set pieces, though? We talked a lot the last time we were together about how the action set pieces really brought down Tron Ares. What'd you think about these?
Well, I called it in the theater with you, the Anti-Tron,
Yeah.
especially because they're both Disney movies. I mean, this is Fox still technically, but it's like Tron wanted to be the biggest, baddest kid in the sandbox, but then Dex coming in and he's all out of bubblegum. So this
Yep.
movie's got nothing else to do but lay down the law and claim its place.
And it was also fun to see that you can do a really heavy action movie and make it PG-13. I mean, obviously,
Yes.
these going after the synths, so you got the white blood and the robot type things. But I was worried going in that it was PG-13.
And a
Well,
lot of people were.
wasn't one of the Alien vs Predators PG-13 or
I
something? I
think
don't.
one of them is.
Yeah, and that was how much fun those were. So you worry, are they going to pull any punches? And they didn't. Like
Because
it's
they didn't have to.
gruesome, it's bloody. I mean, you've got obviously white blood or the green blood from the Predator, but it just never stops. And yeah, it does stop every so often to give you some of those like little moments. So you have the character development. You've got times when they just kind of banter back and forth, and he makes a joke, and it's like she's like, "Did you just make a joke?" Like, and yeah, he
Yeah.
did. And it goes back to that humanizing thing that in this case, in some sense, did work well. But the action set pieces were all so much fun, and especially the
Mm.
end, the culmination when he goes to the final, like the final boss, and everything that he does because he doesn't have his weapons. He's stuck there. He's got nothing on him.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's really clever. Like
Yeah.
it shows everything that he learned all the way through the whole story and how he utilized it to accomplish his goals. And I don't want to say what it was because it was really fun to watch. But no, it's like they didn't sacrifice the awesome to the wall action in the name of a PG-13 rating or because they were trying to spend too much time on character development, which you get both.
It helps that there's no humans in this movie, not one. So
Yeah.
everything that gets killed or dies is non-human. So that's one way they were able to sell the PG-13. I think the humor and the script also, I think, validates the choice, and
Mhm.
it does absolutely work. The scene you're talking about is preceded by what I would call a training montage, which
Oh,
I
it's
think
totally
is,
a montage
which
in
I
the
think
best
is
ways.
great that Trachtenberg did that. He just owns it, and it's wonderful. One of the things about this movie, though, that I was concerned about going in, I'd heard about it, and I'm curious, Adam, what your take on it was, is Brooks mentioned it's a Disney project, of course, which means it absolutely had to have a little Baby Yoda energy, right? Did that bother you?
No, no.
Especially because it has a payoff.
Yeah, it has a payoff. It's part of the story. It's not just like, oh, look, he's cute. We're gonna sell action figures and little stuffed animals. It was
There's a
cute. And I
reason.
liked it. And maybe I just have a soft spot in my heart for those little creatures like that. But it's Baby Yoda fine. It didn't matter because it wasn't like the thrust of the story, and it wasn't there for a lot of it. It showed up when it was
Yeah,
necessary.
it's not a spoiler, but at one point it gets left behind. They literally gets up and leaves it.
He's
They
like,
did-
peace.
They
I'm out.
ditched that
Yeah,
thing
they
for
ditch
sure.
it.
I have to agree with both of you. It didn't bother me at all. In fact, I think it worked really well for this story. I loved Elle Fanning in this role. She was playing one of those characters. I talk about it all the time. I call it the Greek chorus, the character that's supposed to sort of interpret the movie for us. And I thought she was great at that, not just literally with dealing with the languages, which I thought the trick Trachtenberg used for that was excellent, but the fact that she sort of translated the experience Deck was having for us as the viewer really worked. It could have been a little bit too handholdy, but I thought it was perfectly calibrated. So even more kudos to Trachtenberg for that.
The only thing that maybe I wasn't as fond of, and it's just a small thing, was the very end of the movie, the credits start rolling, and there's a scene. And there's a line in that scene which I was like, really? Like that just it didn't sit well with me. I mean, obviously they're trying to set up a sequel, which I hope they get one because it's making money. So
Mhm.
I would love to see more of this universe. I mean, we had Shane Black's Predators, but that one I don't blame Shane Black for because you could tell the studio fingerprints were all over that. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that it wasn't
Oh,
even at
yeah.
Christmas time proves that Shane Black had a lot of control wrested away from him. But yeah, there's a couple little things stuck out. Like every so often, seeing you look kind of weird because you could tell the CGI was a little bit janky. His face was amazing though, so huge props to that. But it's again, they're nitpicks, and it didn't detract for all. I walked out saying that was a pretty cool little movie. I think that was the exact thing I texted you guys was that was fun.
Let's go to scores. Brooks, you go first.
Well, it sets up hopefully future endeavors that I can't wait to see. And I can't wait to see this again. And with it being even PG-13, it's not just because of it being PG-13, but I think it does allow for a broader audience to maybe get in on this. And even with, say, Prey, that was a good R movie and it's got a lot of blood and gore, but I still think it's something with it mostly being kind of creature based that I could probably get my daughter into. Like she likes action movies and creature features. I think she'd be all over this if I showed it to her, especially this one, where it's more like man against nature, basically. I mean, the cast is great. He performs amazingly with probably actually I think a lot of it was prosthetics because I've seen behind the scenes videos that they've recorded together and he's wearing the facial mask and still just being able to do all kinds of stuff like TikTok videos and social media feeds. It's crazy what they've been getting away with. This made me, I think I mentioned it to you, I felt kind of the same way with most of the effects that Adam mentioned with that Ochi movie that came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
Where there's practical effects that you'd never believe are practical.
Totally.
And I feel like there was probably more of that in here than it looks. And so for Trachtenberg to be able to pull that off and to nail the story, not make us want to kill the Baby Yoda character and just make us want to see more, I would probably give it 3.5.
Good score. I'm at 3.5 as well, Brooks. And for nothing more than the fact that we have been watching Predators lose for decades, since 1987. They
And so have
never
we,
win. They never
because they have
win.
never been good. Well,
Exactly.
except for the first one.
But this Predator gets to win a little bit, which I think is really fun. The perspective
That's true.
change. You know, you mentioned Ochi, which I believe is an A24 movie. This is kind of like an A24 Predator movie in its tone and its style. And I really was there for it. And I can't wait to see what happens next. I hope Trachtenberg gets another bite of this apple. I know he can't do it forever, but I'd like to see at least one more project. So I'm at 3.5 as well. Adam, where are you?
Also 3.5. So I mean, I'll go on record and say that Prey and this one are the best Predator movies
Yes.
because the first one's fun, it's campy, it's silly. I mean, wasn't allowed to watch it growing up, so I saw it as an adult, so I didn't have those kind of maybe the fondest memories of.
You don't have the nostalgia Jeff and I have.
No,
Def-
I don't. But I can say that compared to the first Alien movie, which still holds up so long as being such an amazing haunted house like horror and space movie, the first Predator doesn't do that. Yeah, it's fun and it's silly and bloody and get to the chopper, all that kind of fun stuff. But this one actually makes you much more invested in the character. Like Counts, like you said, he actually gets to win, and it just makes the world much more interesting. And yeah, one that I want to go jump back into because now I've had two amazing Predator stories that I never thought I'd get.
3.5 stars all around from the panel. I do think the two of you will enjoy Killer of Killers very much. I'm assigning it to you as homework. Watch it. So, sticking with monsters, we're going to talk about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. When we come back, Brooks is going to tell us the pretty easy to sum up synopsis. We'll be right back after a little bit of the trailer.
My maker told his tale. And I will tell you mine. I remember pieces.
Okay, Brooks, what do we need to know about Frankenstein?
Well, if you've never seen a Frankenstein movie, now's your chance. If you have, it's the same old song and dance. But that's okay because now it's Del Toro giving us the sordid tale of man playing God and the wrath that follows.
The one thing that will come as no surprise to anyone who has ever seen a movie by Guillermo del Toro is that this movie is stunning to behold. It is gorgeous.
So much.
The sets, the costumes, the pacing, the color palette, everything is absolutely stunning. And I expected that. And I don't know how he can still surprise me, guys. Like, he can still take my breath away after all these years, even though I know what he's capable of. Did you guys feel the same way about how this movie looked?
Well, I did because I was watching it and sent you guys a text message saying there are just some things that they're doing with the camera that just little things. It reminds me of that, what was Twinless? Is that what it's called again?
Yeah, Twinless.
Where it's just there's these little things that they do that you normally wouldn't notice if they weren't done so well. And it doesn't take away from the moment either. Like just the way characters can be talking with each other and they pan the camera one way or the other instead of what could have just been a simple edit. And it's just things like that. And the scope that it brings. I don't know how the fact that he built that ship and the laboratory.
Yeah.
He said, I have to have sets if I'm going to do this. And he did. And we get it. And it's amazing to look at.
To tell this story in a new way, you have to tell it in a new way, right? And the conceit of this movie, without giving too much away, is that Victor Frankenstein gets to tell his own story a little bit. Did that work for you, that sort of self-narration?
Yes, and I love the fact that you not only had his story, but you also had the creature story. And it was split very down the middle. The first half is Victor, the second half is the creature. Because the one thing people don't always get from this is like they're used to Frankenstein, like the classic movie monsters and everything else. Like Dr. Frankenstein's the bad guy. He's not the good guy. And this did kind of give him that backstory. Now, again, it's very faithful to the book, but in a lot of ways it's very different. But it gave him the backstory of why he was trying to conquer death, why it was so important to him, trying to make his father proud, all that kind of stuff. And it just shows the pursuit that someone will follow into madness, essentially, to play God. And that's why they call it the modern Prometheus. is because he brought fire to the world and it caught on fire and he wasn't supposed to have it. So I love the fact that we got to see it. Yes, we're going to go and tell half the story up to a certain point, and we're going to have Oscar Isaac, who is amazing. We'll talk about the performances, I'm sure, soon. Everyone's pitch perfect. I'm Mia Goth. I'll talk about that later. Um, but you really do get to fully develop him as a character, and you get to see his motivations and see why he is the way he is. And then the important part is like when we need to, we split over to the creature because we don't need to know his story anymore. He's done, and the creature's story does kind of tie in later on, but we've gotten to where we need to be with Oscar Isaac. Now we need to bring a fresh viewpoint in and get how this person became who he is now, and his development done majestically. I mean, I think that's the best word I could possibly use to do this. So yes, splitting it in two is a very wise idea, and I love the fact that yeah, you do get to tell your own story because you're always going to be an unreliable narrator. That's the whole thing. You're always going to be a hero in your version of your story. So we get to see him as the hero, and then we get to see the flip side of him as the villain.
I agree. I think it's a stroke of genius. And we should talk about the cast, Brooks, because it is an excellent cast. Oscar Isaac, of course. Christoph Waltz is the uncle of Mia Goth's character.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, of course, Jacob Elordi as the monster. And I do agree with Adam Brooks that the Mia Goth character is probably the most underwritten of the cast. She doesn't get a lot to do. And I'm not sure that she does a lot even with what she's given. But what do you think about the casting and the performances?
Well, what's interesting about Mia Goth, we're getting so used to her playing two different characters, and everyone's starting to make this big deal that you didn't even notice it was her because they gave her eyebrows. And it's like, okay, yeah, fine. But when she makes, honestly, such a bigger impression character-wise as Victor's mom, who, at least for me, for the 10 minutes that she was in it
Mm-hmm.
versus the entire rest of the movie that she's in, yeah, I don't know if it's maybe overexposure to Mia Goth, but she definitely was underwhelming. And I don't know if maybe that was a Del Toro fault, but he's always given us strong women before. I mean, most of his movies have female leads. Maybe that also was the problem, is that she was a supporting character and was only kind of there to just push both Victor and the creature towards the finish lines.
She does serve the function you just stated, but not much else, in my opinion. Now, in terms of Christopher Waltz, I feel like people are starting to direct him towards his personality. He always kind of plays a Christopher Waltz sort of character, the kind of character that only he can play, and that is of value. But I thought in this movie that he was pretty understated, pretty on note in terms of what the character required. He didn't try to grab every scene that he was in. He was really pretty well in control. And I'm not sure if, again, if that's a Del Toro thing or if that's an actor choice, but I think it worked for this story. Adam, we have to, of course, talk about Jacob Elordi. One of the first things I have to say is there's just no way to make this guy not pretty. I mean, even as the monster, he's a gorgeous human being to behold, right? He looked incredible. But what did you think about the creature effects, Adam, and the way he was designed, for lack of a better word?
Well, I haven't read the book in a very, very long time. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I don't get around to reading it all that often. So I don't remember the part about the creature being immortal like he is here, where he's got the whole like Wolverine healing factor kind of thing.
Mm.
But I thought it was an interesting choice to make him pretty, for lack of a better word. Like, yeah, he's got the body parts sewn together and the scars and everything, but they're like sexy scars, like you'd see at a bad boy at the bar. It's like it's and I don't know how, again, unless you did like full head to toe prosthetics, I don't know how you could make him not a gorgeous person. So I like the fact that it was also kind of showing that we look at this creature as, okay, there's this monster that's been created, right? But his actual internal being and his exterior are still beautiful in a sense. Like, yeah, he goes out and he does want to get revenge, and he's got that own personal vendetta against Frankenstein for good reason. I'm not going to blame him for that. But I thought it was interesting that they showed, like, hey, he's not that monster you think he is. He actually is a beautiful creature. And as far as what Elordi does with it, I mean, he even said it's the hardest role he's ever done. And wow, hats off to him. I mean, he's always been good. Like, he was great in Saltburn. Priscilla, you hated him as Elvis, but he pulled Elvis. You thought you were watching Elvis up there. So at this point in time, I'm convinced there's nothing he can't do, and except maybe look ugly. So,
Well, I think he's proven that. Brooks, did you like him as the monster?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a good looking dude. He's towering. He's intimidating, but yet not. his performance is so elegant for what it is. I mean, all we've been used to, you've got like the old school Universal
Mm-hmm.
boxed head Frankenstein. You've got De Niro overacting as much as possible and chewing the scenery. So it was nice to see someone give an actual human performance. Well, I guess you also have Young Frankenstein. They did it there too.
Okay,
But it was
that he wins hands down. That's the best
but
Frankenstein. So
but it was
Frankenstein.
yeah, but that was definitely a mix with that character.
So we agree Elordi is the second best Frankenstein ever, but still, that's pretty good because it's hard to follow
Second
Young
best, best
Frankenstein.
looking.
Another compliment I have to give this movie, and I think this credit goes fully to Del Toro, is that this movie is a pretty brisk 2.5 hours. It
Oh
goes,
yeah.
it goes
Oh.
by fast.
Mhm.
Like it felt shorter than Predator Badlands. And Predator Badlands is like 1 hour and 40. But this movie goes by pretty briskly. And with a story that's told in 3 big chapters and with the perspective shifts halfway through and where it's obviously indulgent in terms of its scene setting and its shot making, it's a pretty breezy experience.
I think
Yeah,
that probably helps. Yeah.
And for all the times I always say we need directors with editors, this is the one where I probably would have been fine with, well, can you give it 15 more minutes? Like, I'm
Absolutely.
totally down with this world because you don't notice it. Like, you blink and it's over, and you're like, oh, I've been here for 2.5 hours. Like, I watched it at home. And normally when you're at home, you can take a quick break, make a snack, use the restroom. Like, nope, just straight up on the sofa for 2.5 hours. And then you blink and you're like, oh, I guess I should start making dinner.
Same for me. Well, let's go to scores on this. I'll go first. I loved being in this world. I loved what Del Toro did with this incredibly important legacy franchise. The performances were fantastic. I can't say enough about the look and feel. If this movie doesn't get nominated for every single craft award, I
Mhm.
I honestly don't know what's happening in the world. I also think it's gonna get some acting nods, and I believe that it belongs in the Best Picture discussion at the end of the year. So it's not going to be any surprise that I'm at 4 stars. I think it's a masterpiece. I wish Del Toro had done more with Mia Goth. I wish there'd been more to that character, but it's not a big enough flaw to detract from this movie being just about perfect. So I'm at 4 stars. Adam, where are you?
Easily 4 stars as well. I didn't walk out. I got it from my couch and was just like, wow. Even Clark liked it. We know Clark's thing about movies. Like he loved it too. And
Especially long movies.
everyone I've been recommending to like came back the next day and like, oh my God, that was amazing. And it's very rare that you get a film like this that gets such a visceral and positive reaction from everybody. Not just, we're the crusty old film critics who've seen everything and done this, and we're gushing about it the same way that maybe someone who only sees Marvel movies gushes about it. So it's got just this cross generational demographic, whatever you want to call it, appeal to it because it's that well made. Like, yes, we know this story. It's not a new story whatsoever. And yes, Mia Goth could have been used more than she was or better than she was, but it doesn't change the fact that this is like Guillermo del Toro took everything he's learned from every single movie and everything he did wrong with Crimson Peak and fixed it for this one.
Brooks, 2 stars?
I mean, come on. We watched the same movie, right? Of course we did. That's why it's another 4 stars for me.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. It's just the sets, the acting, the cinematography, the editing, because otherwise, how else would it feel so brisk? Just everything about this movie hits the nail on the head, aside, like we said, from Mia Goth. But then it made me think with Adam mentioning how we could easily spend more time in this world. Maybe she wasn't underwritten. Maybe it was edited out for
Oh, that's a
time or
good point.
something.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
there could have been more to her that we don't see.
Maybe her
And
performance will be redeemed by a director's cut down the road or something. I'd love to see that
there
actually.
could be. I
Yeah.
mean, with it already being in 3 different parts, they could very easily just add more in wherever they wanted. And I think the creature world could have been longer, which is where she would have fared best to have
Yeah.
more screen time. Was
Mhm.
with Elordi.
Agreed.
So, but yep, 4 stars here as well, all around.
Full agreement on both movies.
Again.
4
Is that the first
stars.
time it's ever happened for
For
both
both?
movies?
We'll have to do some
Mm.
research into that because I don't think it's common. If it's happened at all, it's
No.
been pretty rare. But 4 stars all around for Frankenstein. It's wonderful. I'm not sure what else to say except see it. It's on Netflix. It's not hard. See this movie.
Unless you
going-
canceled it like Adam.
unless you canceled it like Adam, but
Hey, they gave me a free month to watch all the screeners.
get
So-
it back
But
for
that had
just
no
this.
effect whatsoever.
And isn't this one also PG-13?
Oh, no way.
I was just so drawn into it that I didn't you don't
But it's
notice
not
certain
grossly
things.
gory.
No.
It's not. It's medical gory, which is hard for
Yes.
people. That's hard for people.
That can be more so sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go back to Predator Badlands for just a moment, because that's the source and the inspiration for our guilty pleasure, which is Killer Aliens Edition. We're going to take a little break and then we'll come back and get into those. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to episode 44 of Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Guilty Pleasures, Killer Alien Edition. Adam, you're up first.
All right. So, of course, I've got to go with something tied to a video game because we know how I am. And so I'm going back to 2001's Final Fantasy The Spirits Within,
Don't know it.
which you guys apparently don't know. So this has a record of being the world's first photorealistic computer animated feature film. So Square Enix, who makes the Final Fantasy games, had Square Pictures set up, and they were trying to tell this story. It's very similar in beats to Final Fantasy VII. Post-apocalyptic Earth, there are these alien creatures that if they touch you, they steal your basically spirit essence and you die. So humankind lives in these bubble, like little cities, and they're out there trying to find a way to combat and kill all these aliens. I mean, this thing, they spent $135 million on it, which was huge back then, especially from a video game company.
I think I do remember when it was coming out. Like, it was a huge deal. There was stuff everywhere.
Yeah. Like they were, I mean, and if you watch it again today, it still holds up. I mean, there's a lot of Uncanny Valley, but I mean, they animated every strand of hair on people. It was crazy. And I mean, the cast, you got Ming-Na Wen, Alec Baldwin, Donald Sutherland, James Woods, Ving Rhames. I mean, you had everyone in this thing, and no one went and saw it but the Final Fantasy nerds. But that being said, I think it's a lot of fun. I've watched it recently. I still think it holds up, not just because of how the animation looks. I mean, this was putting Pixar to shame back then. And I think it's still a fun story. And if you liked Final Fantasy VII, you'll see some things in there that remind you of it. And I think it's something that people should check out because no one did when it was in theaters. It bombed like crazy.
Brooks, what's yours?
Well, I mean, come on. We're talking killer aliens. So obviously it has to be a horror movie, right?
Yes.
Never.
But you can't
All
use
right.
killer clowns again. It's already been
Nope.
done.
I went back and double checked just to be safe. This time I'm going with the not Gremlins ripoff of Critters.
Critters. Nice.
Yes. About some little rolling balls of fur with poisonous spikes, and all they want to do is feed and breed, and sometimes at the same time.
As you do.
What year was that? I forget.
The first one was in 1986. And then in 1991, Critters 3 gave us the acting debut of one little Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's not true.
Aw.
It is true. That's its like claim to fame. That's his
Wow.
first role.
It's worth seeing for that, if nothing else.
I mean, I guess it's worth seeing, but
That's a guilty pleasure, right?
exactly. So it fits
Critters.
right in.
Well, mine is
So
not going to surprise you guys. It's very much a Counts movie. I'm, of course, not going to go back quite as far. I'm only going to go back to 2011. Jon Favreau's Cowboys and Aliens.
I
Yeah,
almost picked that.
I don't hate this movie.
I don't hate it either. I had
was
so
fun.
much fun with it. I mean, talk about casts, Adam. You mentioned your cast. This is obviously Daniel Craig, Harrison Ford, Walton Goggins, Sam Rockwell, Olivia Wilde. It's got a ridiculous cast, and it's Jon Favreau, Iron Man director. So it's got all of the elements of success, but it wasn't well loved by critics
No.
or by fans. And this movie has one of the things that I point to all the time in alien films. And I've said it on the show before, so this won't be a surprise, but interstellar travel, obviously highly advanced technology, no language and no pants. They're just a bunch of lizards running around. It's totally ridiculous. They came off a spaceship, nobody's wearing any pants, and no one's saying any words. It's what makes me love Deck so much. Deck has on pants. Deck speaks a language. But this movie is ridiculous. It's a great vehicle for Daniel Craig. This was in the height of his James Bond days.
Yeah.
So he was all the rage. And to see him do something so different alongside Harrison Ford, I don't know. I loved it. researching this made me want to go watch it again, and I'm going to do that. I recommend everybody do.
I have a funny story about Cowboys and Aliens.
Okay.
So I'll never forget my buddy, because I had a really small car at the time or something. We went to Best Buy and I picked up my very first 1080p 42-inch TV, brought it home with him, hooked up my PS3, and the very first movie I ever watched on Blu-ray was Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh man.
And you loved it.
Oh, it was cheesy as all get out. And like, I was like,
But it looked
my buddy was like,
great.
you're never going to guess what they're after. I'm like, they're after the gold, right? He's like, yes, of course they are.
Like, I've seen movies.
Yeah. But that was the first movie I ever saw at home on Blu-ray.
Terrible villains being after gold is a theme that I'm going to address momentarily in our coming attractions. But first, let's recap our guilty pleasures. Mine was 2011 Cowboys and Aliens. Brooks,
All of the Critters movies
from all of the years.
from 86 to 2019, plus a TV series
Adam.
that's really
Uh,
bad.
2001's Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, let's do our coming attractions. I'll go first since I sort of set myself up a moment ago. This movie that I'm looking forward to is actually coming out as we record next weekend, like 5 days away. And if you saw the original, you'd be just as excited as me. The original came out in 2022 and it was called Sisu. And it is
Oh,
about,
yeah.
you know the one I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I'm so excited for that movie. Yes.
I've seen
it's-
like the first 15 minutes of the
It's
first
worth
one.
so good.
it's worth sticking with it, Brooks. It's so
Oh,
much
I didn't
fun.
give up. I was on the treadmill and had to stop.
Talk about a revenge journey. I mean, this is that in spades, and this movie is very much not PG-13. It's about as R as you can get. It's basically the story of this Finnish guy. He lives way up in Lapland, and he finds some gold, and it takes place during World War II. So some Nazis that are stationed there and bored to death find out about this, try to take it from him, and then lots of murder ensues because he's an ex-soldier. So now the next movie, the war is over, the Red Army's there, and a Russian commander comes after him, and he gets to kill everybody again. So the movie is called Sisu Road to Revenge, and it opens as we record a couple days away. I'm really excited about it. Brooks, what are you looking forward to?
So I'm gonna stick on brand, not just for myself, but the show. And I have to say that it's Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
It looks. Have you watched the trailer?
I haven't.
Yes.
Oh man, I had no idea it was going to be like a 30s mobster movie, and that just made me even more excited.
Okay, that's my homework. I'm going to look that up after the
Yep.
show.
And it's a musical.
When does it come out?
It looks like this is going to be March 6th.
Adam, what are you looking forward to?
All right, so mine, I saw the trailer for the first time yesterday while I went and saw Predator Badlands. This comes out on January 30th, 2026, and it is the Sam Raimi horror comedy, Send Help.
Oh, yeah.
Almost went with that.
It looks so good.
Yeah, so the conceit is we got Dylan O'Brien, who we love. We talked about him recently. He is the jerk boss of Rachel McAdams, and they're on a plane. They crash land on this island. She knows how to survive, and he's like, what's going on? And then it turns into them trying to kill each other. And she might be a murderer or something. I don't know. It just looks fun. I love both of them to death. They're both great actors. And it's Sam Raimi. So, we're going to have something fun where something's flying at one of them with a camera on it, like they always do. So
This trailer made me think, and it may be because Rachel McAdams is in it, but it kind of makes me feel like this is going to be Sam Raimi's Red Eye. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
gonna be,
possibly,
like,
yeah.
lean and mean and just so fun. And probably in the long run, underrated.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be funnier though. I mean, it's Sam
yeah.
Raimi, he's got to have his good sense
Exactly.
of humor in there. But
A little
yeah,
more over
give me
the
an excuse
top.
to watch Dylan O'Brien for an hour and a half on screen, and yeah, I'm happy.
I'm already coining this movie, since it's someone getting to take care of their boss, in quotation marks, on a deserted island, as Catharsis, the movie.
Aren't there some misery vibes too, though, a little bit?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's like
It's gonna be
knocked out.
because he has. I think he's got like a broken leg or something, right? And she's basically trying to take care of him and keep
Well,
them alive.
Maybe she'll break the other
Maybe keep them alive.
one. So,
Keep
all
one
right,
of them alive.
Adam, what's it again?
Send Help.
And mine was Sisu Road to Revenge. And Brooks,
The Bride.
starring Maggie Gyllenhaal, who doesn't get nearly
No,
enough
she
time.
isn't starring.
She's not.
It's Jessie Buckley and
Oh, it's-
Christian Bale.
So Maggie
And Peter
directed.
Sarsgaard and Annette Bening and Jake Gyllenhaal and Penelope Cruz.
So Maggie's directing.
Yes, wrote and directed.
All right, I need to see this trailer clearly because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I will soon. It's going to be a quick turnaround between this show and next because things are starting to happen pretty quickly now. We are
About time.
fully in awards season, so we'll be back
Yay.
with you sooner than usual with another 2 films, another guilty pleasure, all the stuff you count on us for. Until then, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Thank you for being with us. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss, and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.